Good afternoon, everyone. I want to take you on a bit of a trip. Lots of you are students today. A couple of you were students at some point. I want to take you back. I hope it works now. No, it doesn't. There you go. At some point, I studied. I studied management and economics. I studied East Asian languages, and I attempted to learn Chinese. And when I did my final years at high school, I learned China is the big emerging market. You can make lots of money. You can make big salaries. In university, they told us you can make big career in big companies and everything big and big and big and big and big. I even went to China. I studied there. I worked in Hong Kong for big chemical companies, working in finance. I did the full Monty. But at the same time, I didn't feel the full story. So I started working in a small organization who helped kids in our local schools in the rural area, where we taught them how to be better at school, how to learn. And so at some point, I was struggling. I was talking to people and they told me, well, if you want a career in business, you got to stick to business. And the nonprofit guys told me, if you want a career in nonprofit, stick to nonprofit. I didn't like that. I kind of feel struggled in the middle. So I was really struggling. And I didn't find myself. Come on, there you go. Big struggle, right? I found myself, right? I was really, really deep in myself. I didn't know where to go. So I found myself in Laos. There you go. Middle of the jungle, Southeast Asia. One of the poorest countries in the world. They had 2 Porsches in the whole country. They had 23 kilometers of road. That was basically the surroundings. And I was working for a solar company. We were building solar panels in the middle of the jungle, in villages where groups of people with 30 to 50 families lived. And basically, no energy provider put cables down through the forest. Nobody did it. So they didn't have any energy. They didn't have any electricity. And we were pretty successful. We gained really good sales. We had lots of market share. We really, really penetrated that market in a positive way. Aside from that we were selling solar panels, there were positive effects. People were more productive because they now had the power to actually run a sewing machine. Moreover, people were cooking with coal. You know, the fireplace, they got a little coal, then it stings, it's not healthy. So the people now had energy. They could use a stove. Very efficient. And in education, in the evening, normally they had a little oil lantern or a diesel lantern. It stinks, it's not very healthy. The kids didn't want to learn in the evening, apart from not learning at all, but they really didn't want to learn, right? So when they had a solar lantern, no excuses, they stuck to the books and they started learning. So basically, I found something, a business, a normal business, what drives social impact as well. And in this niche, I've been working in the last 12 years. And in these 12 years, I found there's a big struggle in the moment. And we just heard there are corporations working on corporate social responsibility. I myself am a corporate social responsibility manager, working in a social enterprise. And what we've seen now in the moment is a big corporate struggle. They need sustainability because sustainable companies are less impacted by global financial crisis. There's a huge social pressure. There are rules and regulations. And on the other side, the non-profit organizations are getting bigger donations, but from lesser people. So the groups who are now giving money need more transparency. They want to see what's the impact of every euro invested. And especially the corporates are now investing in social organizations. It's kind of impact outsourcing. They're working together with other people who can do the job better than they can do. And they're doing it because they see they can strengthen their supply chain, build future markets, leverage finance, and really invest in talent. And I've been watching this for quite a time. And I found 3 leverage points where I think, and I hope you take home, you steal it, you make it better, I don't care, go ahead, do it. And I really want to work on this one with you today. Okay. Come on. There you go. The 3 leverage points I see. It's very basic. Look at the opportunities that are there. Invest in those. And try to work, we heard it before, in the talents who are really around us. The first one is that in normal cases, you always see social challenges. We start whining and everything is bad. Look at the opportunity of such a social challenge. I want to give you an example of that. Currently in Europe, we have a strong problem with youth unemployment. On the other side, corporates are looking for really, really good people. So that's a great potential, and it's an opportunity for many people. There's an organization called the Joblinger. That doesn't work. Technical, come on. There you go, Joblinger. A very highly structured organization. Okay. A highly structured organization founded by a corporate and a foundation where they said, we really want to tackle a market. We want to look at the 15 to 25-year-olds and give them structure, practice, orientation, give them a mentor. I've been joining a young lad from Frankfurt. His parents are from Eritrea. And for some reason, he just skipped school. He didn't go there. He didn't like school, but he wanted to have a job, and he was highly intelligent. And I was allowed to join him on this path until today, where he's now doing an apprenticeship at a large corporation. And I saw those success factors because I was right into the system. I saw the success factors, the practical work from day one, the personal mentoring, the local charity work those kids had to do right at the beginning because it was very valuable. They're not a problem in society. They can be part of the solution. And what I like the best, it's an entrepreneurial approach. And because it was founded by a corporation and a foundation, they built strong local partnerships for around, I think, 1,500 organizations and now corporate partners in 19 different locations. And they have a success rate of more than 70%. And no public organization can reach this success rate. So they're not only more efficient in that, they're even cheaper while doing it as well. Those corporates who are building the foundation, building the partnerships, they really invest in the project of Joblinger because they find great employees. Right? And at the same time, they reduce the problem of youth unemployment. And investment is the second thing I wanted to talk to you about. In many cases, in the social sector, we don't think about investing in something, we think about donating. Think about it. If you walk down the street, a guy comes up and asks you for €1. You're probably going to give it to him, or maybe not. You don't know what happens with it, right? If a corporation is asked, would you give me €1,000,000? Is it going to happen? Maybe not. But if you go that path and you start donating, it's good, do it, right? There are many topics where we can't approach it with a social entrepreneurship approach. But there are topics where you can. When I was a student at the University of Bochum, we worked with a local social entrepreneurship enterprise, a newspaper. Basically, guys on the street selling newspapers. That's a social enterprise. It's so simple. If you give him, the vendor, €2, €1 stays with him and €1 goes in the newspaper. The newspaper provides structure for the person, gives him purpose, gives him something to do in life apart from just asking for money. So if you see a guy on the street, buy a newspaper. And in the moment, there's a huge boom in this market. And it's said that in the next 10 years, $500 billion are going to be invested in social enterprises. So think about every time you ask for money, if you're a student, if you're a corporate, think about what's the business model behind it and can you invest in it instead of just donating into it. And as we heard before, in many cases, we invest in talents. And that's the third point I wanted to talk to you about. Everybody of you has a special talent. My talent is not mathematics, right? I got other talents. But there's many people who are left out because nobody looks at their talents. I work for a company, very simple business model. We pick up computers, we erase them, and we sell them again. Very locally, here, we got a little shop here in Mannheim selling the computers to very poor people. Those computers are extremely good. They don't break as fast because they're used in a corporate context. We pick up nearly 300,000 computers a year in 19 locations. So it's a huge business. And what our social purpose is, because I told you we're a social enterprise, is that we create jobs for people with a disability. So we look for people with a special talent. And at the same time, because we use the computers even longer, it substitutes the reproduction of a new computer. So we reduce the carbon footprint of the giver of the devices as well. So it's a totally sustainable business. And we have investors. They invest in us, and the money circulates and allows us to grow the business even better. I wanted to introduce you to a colleague of mine, Thomas. Thomas is one of those guys who has a unique talent. He's also one of the guys who doesn't hear that well. He's deaf, right? You would think, Thomas, where can we put him? He would never hear anything. When I come into our Berlin office where he works, I have to really approach him and knock him on the shoulder and say, hey, Thomas, I'm here. But Thomas has a unique ability. Because he doesn't hear very well, his sense of touch is extremely good. And when we erase devices, we take out the hard disk, and this hard disk is put into a machine. This machine crunches up the hard disk into tiny little shreds and pieces of metal, so the data is really gone. This machine is so strong, it basically kills itself on a regular basis. Our guys in other locations who only listen to the noises the machine makes, those machines break down more often. Thomas had the unique ability, he pulls his hand on it and he feels, oh God, it's going to break, I'm going to stop it. A unique ability. This guy makes that we need 20% less costs for the same machine, and because his downtime is less, he's more efficient than anybody else. And I'm still hoping we can send him through the country to teach others how to feel when the machine is going to break down. And the great thing is, I work with 250 people with a disability, without a disability, who have a unique talent. And our organizational structure allows us to look at the people who really, really can drive the business. We heard this in the talk before. If you find a business, those people drive your business, and we are able to do that. And we are growing at speeds of 20% a year. This year, we're building 4 new locations throughout Europe because our business model is so simple, picking up computers, erasing them, selling them again. As I said, I hope you steal my ideas. I really want that you think of the opportunities that lie in the social challenges. I hope that you think of investments instead of charity, even though charity might be good in some cases. And I hope that you think of guys like Thomas, who have a unique ability, and in many cases we disregard because they're just not the way other people are. And I hope that at some point you go out in the jungle, you explore, you find the balance between impact and profit. Thank you.